it's been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Been gone for a year, only know like once. Life moves fast when you're doing what you want.
Good morning. Can you say good morning? Good morning. It is 6 a.m. No. It is 6 a.m. and we are going to get ready to go on our morning walk. We go early in the morning because obviously Cannoli wakes up with a lot of energy, and also it is August, so there's a ton of tourists here, and we just like to get out of the way before a lot of people come, because a lot of people, other dogs, is not very effective for a walk with a puppy. So we just like to get it out of the way for the day. Please, you're doing too much. Oh my God. No. On this walk, we are going to talk about some frequently asked questions that I got asked on my Instagram yesterday about what it's like when I'm moving to Italy and just the process and how everything's been. For those who don't know me, obviously I just moved to Italy, and moving to a new country is challenging, and it takes a lot of documents and patience. So I really haven't had a lot to talk about until now, because things are finally moving along, and I have some exciting things coming up and just a lot more things I can do in this country. So I'm finally excited to talk about them. So that's what we're going to talk about on this walk. So I think he's ready to go. He's over me. So let's go. So that is where I start my morning walk every morning, because the view I just think is amazing. Depending on what time I get here, I do get to see the sunrise, and it is breathtaking. So Cannoli's only going to come with us for our first big loop because he's just not really enjoying this walk today, and he's stopping a lot, and he just can't walk the couple miles that I'm going to do. But I'm just going to get some basic questions out of the way. For those who don't know me, my name is Katerina. I'm 25, and I'm a Pisces and Aquarius on the cusp, for people who care about that stuff and are interested. A little backstory. I graduated from the University of Alabama, and then I moved to Atlanta, and I was in aesthetic school, and I loved it. That's what I actually wanted to do, but the school really changes your perspective on if you want to do it. Trust me, go and you'll understand. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. I did make a lease in Texas. I was very excited because my best friend from college lives in Texas, and I made some other friends there. And so I was like, okay, yeah, Texas, we're just going to have to figure it out, get a job, and make it work. And then my dad is from here, so I'm obviously like full Italian, and we've come to Italy before, but I was a lot younger. So we came to Italy, and I was like, oh, I really don't want to go. I'm ready to go to Texas. I just want to get my life started. And I was coming for a month and a half, and once I got here, the first couple weeks and month was like, oh, it's gonna be so long, and I'm just ready to go. But I ended up falling in love with the place and just how I felt as a person here, and just like things that kind of changed my perspective after living in Atlanta for a year. So I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna do it and never move to Europe, I might as well do it now because I'm young and I can always go back. So I have been here, and yeah, so that's kind of like just the start background before I answer some questions about what happened after I made that decision. So yeah. Okay, so I just dropped off Cannoli, and I'm off for the rest of the walk. So I have my questions here, and I'm going to start with the most, starter question that I got asked the most was, why did I move here, and do I hate America, and is that why I moved? I moved here, obviously, like I said in the last clip, that there's a lot of hills here, okay? And I'm not an athlete anymore. So I moved here because when I lived in Atlanta, I just feel like I got kind of in this toxic mindset about what was important in life and what I thought made me a better person and what made people like me more. And it was kind of like, what could I buy? What could I wear? What could I do to be cooler or better? And it wasn't the people I was hanging out with or anything like that. I had a good group of people, and everyone was humble and everything. It's just I allowed myself to get into that mindset, and it just wasn't healthy for me. So, intermission. the first Roman theater. Okay. So, did I move here because of that or because I hate America? I don't hate America. To be honest and transparent, I'm not very, 100% knowledgeable on all the topics in America. I don't really watch the news a lot, which I know is bad. I'm 25. But I just never really cared about like what everyone else's opinion was about what was going on and everything. I like to make my own opinions and get my own research. So it's not because I hate America or because I think the system sucks and I think that it needs to improve in a lot, but there's also things here that need to improve. When I started here, I was like, oh my God, Italy's so great. And everyone thought that me trying to convince them I wanted to move to Italy was bashing on America. But that wasn't the case. It was just, I thought a lot of things were going to be better here and great. But of course, once I moved here, there are a lot of things I missed about America. And so I think there's a good and a bad to every place. And so there's a good and a bad to Italy as well. So no, I don't hate America. I don't hate Italy. There's just a good and bad to both. So I'm making it work with situation I've put myself in now. Okay, to piggyback off that question, the next one is what area do I live in? And I live in Tuscany, the Province of Pisa, a town called Volterra. I came here to visit my cousin and my aunt and uncle. They're actually my great aunt and uncle, and she's my second cousin. But anyway, I came to visit them because they have a winery here called Mar Campo, and I stayed with them for the first whole month I was here. And to be honest, this was the first town I stayed in for that long, so maybe that was has a lot of the reason of why I stayed. But I do really like it. I love it, and I'm always like a fan of having a town that's like small and homey and feels very authentic to Italy. And then if I want to go to see a big city or go shopping or do anything city life, I'm only 45 minutes to an hour from Florence and Pisa. So, and a couple other towns around, but those are the two like big cities that I would go to. So yeah, I live in Volterra. She's very cute, she's very little, but she's very historical and very nice. How long do I plan to stay? I didn't come here thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna make it work for 1 to 2 years. I'll figure it out. It is what it is, and then I'll return to America. I have moved here with the full intention of staying as long as I want to, as long as it's possible, and as long as everything goes well, I will stay here and make it work and have family here and build a job and a business and just do everything I wanted to do in America here. So no timeline, just whatever is supposed to happen is gonna happen. So, okay, the next one is oh gosh, what I was gonna do. Did I get a visa to come here? Oh my God, was it a process? So if you want to stay more than 3 months, you have to get a visa. I was here for 3 months. I came here on August 25th last year, 2022, and I stayed until October 1st because I had to go home for my sister's wedding on the 15th. But so I tried to like make everything work, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a job, and I found someone to give me a job. My family here also owned a restaurant called Enoteca del Duca, and it's a Michelin review. It's a great restaurant, and they were selling it, so the new owners were very nice and offered me a job. And I was like, okay, I'll get the work visa, and I made an appointment at the consulate in DC, and I thought we were all good to go. I was so excited. And the day before the consulate, I realized I had the wrong paperwork because people here in Italy don't know how to do that sometimes, just like we don't know necessarily how to get a green card or anything like that, because in America we don't have to, so we don't think about it. Just like them here, they don't have to, so they don't think about it. So both of us just made a mistake, and I had the wrong documents the day before my appointment. The lady at the consulate was really nice, and she was like, come in anyway, and I'll look at the rest of your stuff and make sure you have everything, and then I'll tell you what you need to go get. Unfortunately, what I needed was not able to get this year at all. Another intermission. So what else I needed was just not able to get this year. Apparently it didn't open to Americans, so that's great. Love that for me. So I came back and forth every 3 months until, okay, so I went home in October, came back at the end of October, went home in December, came back in February just for a week, and then I went back, and then I came here officially this time April 25th. So I came here with the intention that I wasn't going home in 3 months. I was going to figure it out and what I had to do. And I hired an immigration man here who basically, the paperwork's whatever. Anyway, we'll move on from him. But it did allow me to stay here for an extra couple months. And that allowed my dad to get a real lawyer in Florence and get all my documents from his hometown, his birth certificate, marriage certificate, everything that proves that I am Italian. So because I'm an Italian citizen underneath my dad, I'm basically obligated, and to them in Italy, they kind of already consider me an Italian citizen. Just I have to be recognized, and that means they just have to have all the documents, call the consulate in DC, make sure I never renounced it, and then they can give me my citizenship here and I can get my passport. But it's not that simple. It sounds easy. People wait 2 years, a year to get an appointment at the consulate. So I knew I didn't want to go through DC because it's just not possible to wait that long and get anything done. So I found ways here to be a resident. I have a lease apartment here for a year. I have all these other documents that took a long time to obtain to be able to say I'm a resident here so I can apply here at the commune and instead of DC. So I finally have that, and I got my residency. I got my identification card here. I now have a bank account. I have my tax code, which is kind of like their version of a social security number. And now I've already submitted my paperwork to be recognized as a citizen. And so hopefully at the end of September or October, I can go to the police station and get my passport and be an Italian citizen, and then I won't have to come back and forth. But it's only been a year, and that sounds like not a long time, and there's a lot of people who wait a lot longer than me, so I don't want to complain, but it was a trial and error process, and anyone who wants to move to Europe or anyone who wants to go through this specific process, if you are able to be a citizen, just be very patient, because it's going to be like a roller coaster, and you're going to be really excited and be like, okay, I'm all the way up here, I'm getting everything I want, it's going to happen, and then you're going to drop all the way to the bottom, because there's just a lot of hoops you have to go through and a lot of paperwork. And unfortunately, it is true that Italy moves very slow compared to Washington, D.C. So, or anywhere in America, honestly. But just imagine Washington, D.C. It's nothing like that here. So you are going to wait a long time. It's going to be slower. It's going to be hard to get appointments. It's going to be hard to get paperwork. The language barrier is going to be a problem. Thankfully, my dad speaks Italian, so that wasn't an issue for us. But there's going to be a lot of hoops you have to go through. And so just be patient and be understanding. And that's really my only advice, because there's literally nothing you physically can do or anything you can, no amount of money you can pay, no time you can move forward. So just be patient with the process. So yeah, okay, so that's my little spiel on that. I'm sure it'll come up more on topics, because that's what my whole year has revolved around, is making appointments and getting paperwork and just hoping for the best. So, but I had a good little intermission. The view, obviously, I don't mind stopping here at all. So we'll move on to the next question and continue my walk. I'll give you one more look at this, because it doesn't really get old. Since I just mentioned the language barrier and that my dad speaks Italian, the next question is, do I speak Italian? So me and my mother argue about this all the time. Not really argue, but obviously joke about it. She didn't let my dad teach it to us because my dad speaks a dialect from a small town called Abruzzo, so it's not really proper Italian. So yes, he gets around perfectly fine, but just like Sicily or anything, you can't understand some people from different regions. It's like really bad. So she just thought it was best that he didn't teach it to us. But of course, then we didn't learn any, and it's much harder to learn it at 25 than I know it would have been as a baby. But it's okay. I had a tutor for 4 months last year, and I started off with no Italian. So I definitely progressed a lot, and I can get around now. But every time I went home for 3 months, I obviously didn't speak it, so I didn't really evolve at all or grow at all in the topic. So I'm so awkward. This is my first vlog, and there's people in the cars watching me, and not that they can understand me because I don't speak English, but just cringe. So I had a tutor, and I did learn a lot, but of course I didn't speak it when I went home, and so I didn't expand at all every time I went home, and I had to kind of restart every time I got back. So my tutor moved away. I haven't had a tutor since I've been back. I actually just contacted him. We just set up Zoom calls, and I'm starting tomorrow. So hopefully it gets a lot better, and eventually in a year I can tell you, yes, I speak it. Okay, next question. Have I traveled since I've been here, or have I just stayed in Italy? I have gone a couple places. Yes, I'm very lucky to have been able to explore and travel before I stayed here, because now that I've submitted my documents, I can't really leave, especially since I've been here for more than 3 months. I'm a little scared to leave and have to get my passport. um, oh, okay, sorry, I got a notification for battery. I'm afraid to kind of leave and then look at my passport and be like, you've overstayed, you're welcome, you can't come back. And then I have to go through all the paperwork and everything. I don't really think that would happen, but I'm not going to risk it. So when I first got here, I went to Abruzzo, which is my dad's hometown. Then I came to Tuscany. Then I went to a lot of cool places around here. Obviously, my really good friend from, my best friend from America came here in November for her first time ever in Europe, and we went to Sicily for the weekend, and I met a great girl named Kennedy on Bumble Friends here, and she actually is from Virginia, and she was studying in Florence, and so me and her decided to go travel together. So we went to Paris for the weekend, and so I got to go to Paris. I went to Sicily. I just recently went to Romania, which is so weird and random, but I actually have friends there now, and so I went to Romania. And when I was younger, I went to Slovenia, Slovakia, Czech, and Austria when I was 12. And then, of course, I went to Italy already before when I was 18. So, yes, I have traveled a little bit. I don't plan on going anywhere right now because also, like, I've technically been on vacation for a year now. I don't really want to travel anymore. I like being home. I want to be settled. So, for right now, my trips are kind of done. Maybe next summer I will go and get out of Italy because it does get really busy here, but undecided right now. So, okay, so the next question is, how is the housing here? I know that the salary and everything is lower here, so everything kind of equals out. But coming from America with just that money mindset and that pricing mindset, the pricing here seemed so amazing. And I have a great apartment. It's a 2 bedroom, 1 bath, huge living room, huge kitchen. For the size of Italy, it's huge. And I pay, full disclosure, $600 a month, not counting like water and electric, but the water here is really cheap. The electric can get really expensive. So, of course, a lot of people here don't have air conditioning or anything. Thankfully, my dad owns an air conditioning company, so air conditioning is very important to us. And he bought me one of those like standstill air conditioners. So I do have that for when it gets really hot in like the 95s here, but it's only a week or two out of the summer, so I really haven't had to use it that much. So my electricity bill shouldn't be that high. But yeah, it's hard to find housing here because there aren't like huge apartment complexes and things to easily buy, so or easily find online or anything like that. You have to know someone who knows someone, and so it was a process. I had an apartment originally in February, and she was cute, but she literally told my friend that she was overcharging me because I was American. So I didn't really see the plan there, but it's fine. So I ended up changing from that and just finding this new one with another friend we knew, because it was just bigger, it was more practical, it was cheaper, and I had a guest room, which was important for if my family came, and the other place was a loft, so I couldn't really have family there. But so the housing is nice here. It's different. Like I said, everything has a good and bad, and it's different. And once I am making like a specific salary here, I might have to reevaluate the 600, but I'll talk about that next, because my goal here to open a business and everything, I'm hoping won't affect that $600 at all. So, yeah, so we'll piggyback on that with the next question, which is, how do I afford it? Because I am not documented right now, so I'm not allowed to be working. So I am very blessed and very lucky to be able to live here with no problem, because my parents are amazing and great and have worked really hard their whole lives to be able to help me. So, am I really happy that I'm 25 and I'm still doing that? No, but my dad's very happy that I'm moving to Italy because this is his hometown, so he's understanding of the process and how long it takes, and that it's not because I'm lazy or I don't want to make my own money. I mean, I love to work, it's just I'm physically not allowed to. So they've been very understanding and very helpful, and they are the reason that I can live here right now and afford it, because I am not allowed to work yet. So yeah, that's really just that. I mean, there's not much to say about that. I'm just a very blessed individual, and yeah, that's really it on that question. So we'll keep walking and I will find our next question. Okay, this was not one of the questions, but I just kind of want to add it to give you a image of the area. So this is a wall right here, and there are, I should know the exact number, but I don't. There are a couple exits and entrances for the big wall, which is like the city center. And so I live inside the city center. So that's why I haven't really needed a car or anything here yet until I go to Florence or anything. And I would just kind of rent a car for the day from someone who owns a rental company here. But yes, I live inside the walls, which is like where all the shops are and the historical things, and just like where usually the tourists go and stay for the day. No one really walks outside. Outside is more like residential and like small owned companies and just stuff like that. Okay, next question. My sister asked this because this is, not a lot of people would ask this question, but do I have my driver's license here? And I got a permit from America saying I could drive internationally for a year. And then I had it from last August and I just renewed it. And my dad brought it to me, or my brother-in-law brought it to me when they came. So that's fine for a year. Now the problem is, I haven't really had a car here, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. But the problem is, you only have a year once you become a resident here to get your Italian driver's license, or you'll never get it. And that seems easy, like a year, that's a lot of time. The problem is, you have to take the test in Italian, the writing test in Italian as well, and the driving. And the big kicker is you have to drive manual for the exam. And here that's very normal. Everyone drives manual, every car is manual. We all know in America that is not a super normal thing that people know how to drive. So I'm very scared that'll become a problem. But I have a year and I technically just became a resident, so now that I started my lessons again in Italian and my friends have manuals here, hopefully we make some time to teach me, because or else I'm going to be kind of screwed, to say the least. I just got a car. My dad came here to visit me, and he's been here for about 2 or 3 weeks already, and he got me a car here, and because he's a citizen, so he's allowed to buy one already and just put it in my name, obviously, or like I'm on the insurance, whatever. And so, because you're not allowed to buy a car here without being a citizen, so thankfully he came, he bought it for me, and now I have a car, which doesn't seem like a big deal because, like I just said, I don't really need it that much. But trust me, when you go from America and you have a car and you have the freedom to do whatever and go wherever, it's very much missed. I mean, to even go to the grocery store, because the big grocery store that has all this stuff is about probably like a mile walk downhill there, and then a mile walk up. And I don't think anyone, no matter where you live, would enjoy doing that every day. So, or once a week, twice a week, whatever. So, well, here, okay, so that'll go into the next question. And the next question is, what is the food difference here? And yes, I am gonna shit on America for this category specifically, because the food here is 100% better and cleaner and less preservatives, less chemicals and everything. Because in America, we have so many chemicals and everything, and it's to give them a longer shelf life to profit more money, because we don't want them to go bad, then we would have to produce more and they would lose money. Here, everything goes bad in like 2 days. So people go to the grocery store or markets almost every day, every other day, to grab small stuff, because you can't buy vegetables and leave them in your fridge for 4 to 5 days before you eat them. It's just, they're already going to be gross and you're not going to want them. So everything here doesn't have like wax seals, chemicals, preservatives, nothing. It comes directly from people's gardens here, and like obviously big garden places and fields around, whatever, but they're all like not mass-produced companies for the most part. Yes, of course, we have like Kellogg's and Oreos and stuff like that, but if you read the ingredients, even our Oreos have different things. Like, we don't use Red 5 or whatever chemical that is to make the coloring. They use like beet juice as an alternative. So yes, we still have those things, and yes, they still taste the same, but they are replaced with things that aren't chemicals or problems, so it makes them healthier either way. So yes, that's my little tangent and my rant. The food, otherwise than that, like going out and eating, Italian food here is very different than what people think Italian food is in America. And just for example, I got asked how the pizza is here, and I personally, okay, the pizza is great. Don't get me wrong. The pizza is great. We're in Italy. It's obviously never going to taste bad, but going from like huge, elaborate, like just trash pizza in America, um, it's really good. And so here, it just seems kind of like lackluster. Like, they have a different style. The pizza crust is thin. They don't cut it for you. It's really like there can be a lot of oil on a lot of pizzas, and to where it's like a little soggy. There's no like crispy, like made sturdy crust. And so it's really just a personal preference. And I feel like growing up in America, that's obviously going to be my preference because that's just what I'm used to and what I've always had. So there are some things that are great here and some things that are like, not for me, food wise. But overall, I'm obviously going on this walk to get skinny because I'm not starving myself here, and it's not a lack of good food. So, yeah. So that's just a little bit about the difference in food. You do bloat a lot less because I don't know why. I'm sure the chemicals, whatever, blah, blah. But like in America, I literally had an appointment to go see an internalist because I was like, every single meal I ate, I felt gross. I was bloated. I just felt like I wanted to vomit. And I, to the point, was like that trend that was going around TikTok where you were like, you have intestines, you have worms in your intestines and blah, blah, blah. Okay, sorry. There was that trend going around in TikTok that was like, you have worms in your stomach, you need to eat or drink this so you can like shit out worms. And I was like, oh my God, I probably have worms. And because I just felt so horrible all the time. And so I was believing all these things and nothing was fixing it. I was drinking a lot of water, I was working out, I was cooking at home, and like nothing made me feel better. So here, I came here for that first month, and when I went home, and granted, okay, I got certified for personal training when I was 18, and so I've always known how to work out, maybe not enough to like what is specific for my body, not just like overall general fitness. But I always struggle with like, okay, well, I tried this diet, it doesn't work. I work out so much, I feel like I'm getting bigger, all these things. So I came here and I didn't do shit for the month and a half. Like I just walked a lot because you have to walk here. And I ate everything I wanted. I had like trays of focaccia bread every single night from the restaurant. I didn't drink that much wine, but I had wine every now and then. And I literally went home and my mom was like, you look so skinny, what you do? Like, this is the smallest we've seen you in a while. And I was like, I didn't do shit. So it was obviously because even eating out here in a restaurant, the food they are cooking the food with is already less processed than before they add all the salt and taste and everything that restaurants do. So you're still eating healthier food, whether you cook it at home or you eat it at a restaurant here. So overall, the food difference here is huge. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying. So it is what it is. But now, unfortunately, I don't like to eat out a lot to save money, and it's a little awkward when I'm here by myself and there's a ton of tourists and I'm just a little girl sitting by myself. So I got into like eating packaged noodles and like just snacking at home because I was bored. So I definitely have not lost weight since I've been here, but it's definitely not the food, it's me. So yeah, but that's the difference in the food. So basically, to wrap this up, I am kind of on like, let me check. I'm on 2 miles and 19 minutes, 19 whatever. So I've walked a lot slower. Obviously, I've stopped. I try to do 3 miles, which because I've done so many random routes trying to talk without seeing people this morning, I am just now at the bottom, which means I have to walk all the way back up. And so I'll probably get almost 4 miles today. But I'm okay with that. It's only 7 a.m., so we're just going to keep going. But yeah, so those are kind of like my basic ask questions. There's some other ones like, what did I pack to come here? Everything. I did do a big clean out of my my closet and everything before I came, obviously, as everyone does before they move. And the style here is very different than in America. So I didn't need a ton of like heels. I don't have any heels here. I don't have any like a lot of my designer things. I have some purses, but no one really walks around with designer here. Nobody walks around with like Jordan Dunks really. They do, but I think they're a little like younger age group here, and it's just like I still love those things and I still have them in America, but I kind of just took what I needed here. So Oh my god, I hate when I see humans, especially when they're younger. But yeah, so that's kind of that. With what did I pack and how did I pack everything? I was moving, so as much as I could in reason. Both my suitcases were overweight, and I had to pay the airport and change some things around, but we made it work. And yeah, since I've been here, I've of course discovered Amazon, and so I've bought anything that I didn't have, or I was like, oh, I probably should have brought that from America, but I didn't think I would need it, and I did, so I just bought it here. And slowly but surely you like rebuild your closet and you rebuild your house stuff and just like necessity things you need. So yeah, that. And then this question, I'm gonna end the video on this question because it's something that nobody would have known to ask. My sister asked it because she obviously, I talk to every day, and she's been here and she is aware of it, and some people that I know are aware of it. But so how is the prison system? So, such a random question, but the prison system here is so different, and I know this firsthand because I have a really good friend who is in the prison here, and he is 32, about to be 33, and he has been in there since he was 20, and he has gone from other prisons and everything. But the big castle that's in town here that I post pictures of or whatever, it is a prison, a fully functioning 100% only prison. And I'm gonna turn around because I'm walking as if I'm not paying attention, and I'm gonna have to walk so far home. It is 100% a prison, and there's people in there from like the worst of the worst to small crimes that just got a lot of years. I mean, you have to think, like, here in Italy, especially if you're not Italian, he's not Italian, you can, like, the crimes here, like something that we would maybe do, like a white collar crime, maybe like 7 years or something in America, depending on how much money you have and what your status is and if you're white or whatever. Here he's doing 20 years for something that someone would do probably 7 in America. So the system is just very different in that way. It's a lot harsher, but the good thing is, which we would never do in America, is within those 20 years they do their probation, their house arrest, like their, you know, like work release, everything while in those 20 years. So when they get out, they are established in society, they have friends, they've made their own money, and they have like a job. So he's only been in for 12, and he has a full functioning job. He's out almost all day. He of course, like on his day off, goes inside and stays, but I hope he's okay with me talking about this. But anyway, none of you guys know him, so but yes, it's very like forward focused and very much like bettering them to make a less return rate, because in America we don't really care. We take you out, and if you get a job, good for you. If you don't, most likely you end up back in there, and that's just not the goal here. The goal is to make them never come back. So that is absolutely fantastic. It's something we completely do different here, as well as when they're done here, they don't ever have to put on a resume or say that they were ever in prison, because like to them they've done their time. Like, why, if I'm not a prisoner anymore, why am I being reprimanded and like treated as if I am? I did my time, I'm a free man now, I'm done. So that's also great. Like, of course in America you have like McDonald's, Walmart, like all these places that will hire you if you're a criminal or you have a felony. But like here, once you're done, you're done, and they're like, go live your best life, you've done your time, we don't care anymore. So that's nice. And so overall the system, I would say, here is just healthier. And I'm sure inside the prison here, like in Sicily and everything, it's brutal. And so I'm not going to say it's 100% better or it doesn't suck in some ways. I'm sure it does when you're inside, but I've seen like the outside once you've done some of your time phase, and it's so refreshing to see how they like treat them as human beings. And yes, they suck, and sometimes they're like, you're a prisoner, you don't have rights, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, to be in prison and be able to just go out and go to work, I don't think you can complain that much. So there's goods and bads, but it's definitely something that you would never like expand your mind on and even think about looking up until you are involved in the situation or you meet someone in a situation. So I remember when I met Kennedy, I was like, should I tell her that she's going to be around prisoners before she comes? Because she doesn't know me, you know, we met online. And so I was like, should I tell her, is she going to feel unsafe? Because like, I know my first thought about prison in America was horrible. So I was like, maybe she'll think that's sketchy and this girl's weird and I don't want to come. So I told her, and then she came and she met them and she learned. And it's just something so refreshing to learn and experience and be more knowledgeable on, and just like nothing you would ever think to learn in America or like anywhere, unless even here. If I didn't know them, I would never think like, oh, that's a prison. I would be like, ew, prison, gross. And so it's just something so crazy to just like, now I know all about it. I know all the procedures. I know all the process. And they are some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And I really do believe, oh, you cannot see me, and there's a lot of ants here. Cross. Alright, so I just got back from my walk. I thought the camera died because I'm still new with this camera, but it ended up recording another 15 minutes in my pocket, so noted. I kind of got cut off on my last topic, but if you're not really interested in it, at least you got a little snippet about it. But if you are, just feel free to ask questions because I can go on and on about that topic. Cannoli is still exhausted from his walk, so it was very effective and beneficial for him. So I ended up doing 3.44 miles. So it's just nice to start my mornings like that because, like I said, sometimes I don't have a lot to do and it can be boring and I can end up getting cooped in the house all day. So it's just nice to get some exercise in the morning. I rewatched the videos and I realized that I'm whispering, so if that's a problem, hopefully you guys can hear me, but because it is early here, everyone sleeps with their windows open here, and I just don't really want to be loud or screaming or inconsiderate for a video, so if that's a problem, I'll try to find a solution. If not, then yeah, that kind of wraps up my walk and my questions I got asked. So if you have any more, just feel free to text me and ask me, or yeah, I'll come up with some new ideas for more videos and just kind of take you around Italy with me as I live here. So thanks for watching. Ciao.